here I'm going to demonstrate the steps to visualize the box model. So I'm going to begin by adding a div tag to the body of the HTML. Here's my div tag, and I'm going to give this a class name so I can identify the div tag with the selector and the style tag. So the class name can be whatever you want. So here I'll just call this box1, and then I will close that. So right now it's a div with a class equal to box1. There's nothing inside the div yet, but this is where we'll add our content. So the content goes inside that div tag. So to visualize the box for this, I'm going to add a style tag inside my head tag, and then in my style tag I will create the selector for the box1 class, which I already created in the div in the body tag down below. So it's period box1, and then inside my curly brackets here I will add those properties which will actually define the box. So you have to actually add these properties to define the box. So the first properties that are necessary are width. So I'm going to give this a width, and let's say I give it a width of 600 pixels and end that with a semicolon. Give this then a height. I will give it a height of 300 pixels. And then it's important to give it a background color, because if you don't give it a background color, you're not going to be able to see the box. So I'll make this green. And then I'll hit save. And you see to the right here, I have my green box. It's 600 by 300 pixels. So those are the very basic elements of a box, the basic properties of a box. And every element is essentially a box. So every element that you create, whether it's a div, a p tag, anything basically can be represented this way, or it actually is. And then the other properties that make up the box model are a border. So I'll create a border, let's say, of 12 pixels. I'll make it a solid border. You have various options. You can do dashed, you can do dotted. So there's different border options that you can add here. And then I'll give it a color. So I'll make it orange so it sticks out. Hit save. So what happens is every time you add one of these properties to that box model, the box will increase in size. And so combining all of these properties together will give you the actual size of the box, and it adds it to the outside of the box basically. So next thing I'll add is padding. So padding is basically going to increase the size of the box, and the padding gives your content inside of the box space around it basically. So I'm going to create padding of 22 pixels, and then you'll see the box actually gets bigger to give that content inside some space. And then I'll add a margin. The margin is basically pushing out from the outside. So it's going to push content out the outside of the box. So I'll give it a margin of, let's say, 30 pixels. Hit save. And so now that you see border, padding, and margin together, it's important that you add these numbers up to give you the actual size of the box. And if you're using padding of 22 pixels, it's adding that amount all the way around. So you have to add it on all sides. So that is essentially how you visualize what that box is. As you work on your wireframes, you'll be seeing how the wireframes translates into this way of designing the page, and then you'll start to use other properties with your style sheets to arrange the content of the page. So that's something that we'll talk about more, but you can use floats, you can use positioning, you can have boxes next to each other, you can have boxes within boxes. So virtually any type of design that you can think of is possible once you really start to understand the box model.